Hey guys, quick question. How comfortable are you with spending one-on-one time with the most important person in your life? Like taking them out, treating them, going for dinner, going to the cinema, booking those concert tickets, booking that trip, or just being at home and spending that quality time with them. Like, how comfortable are you with that when I say that person is you? Like, how comfortable are you with spending quality time by yourself, on yourself, for yourself? Yeah. If you're immediately like, oh no, I could never, I could never go to the cinema by myself, or I could never take myself for dinner or go traveling alone, or any of those things, I want you to hang out here for a second, because I have really turned a corner in terms of how I view and embrace aloneness. And what I'll say is to view it as solitude, to view it as a sacred space where I get to do a lot of personal work, a lot of personal transformation, self-discovery, boundary reparations. I have found that as soon as I change the way I look at spending time by myself, it has become this absolute sanctuary of nourishment. And I think it's really important to share, particularly speaking to any women or female identifying friends who are tuning into this video, because living in this patriarchal society, we as women are conditioned to think the worst possible thing that could happen to you is having to be alone. And I want to call bullshit on that. Before I get into that though, I'll quickly introduce myself for anyone who doesn't know. My name is S.A.A.R.A. I am a musician from London. I create my own self-taught, genre-defying electronic funk EDM music. But I'm also someone who is coming out of an extreme period of creative burnout, social burnout, career burnout. And I've had to purposefully take pause, step back, get comfortable with the aloneness that brought, and basically put my life back together, because I was working a job that was pretty much soul destroying and getting pretty scarily toxic. I was trying to push this boulder up a hill, which was my creative project, and leading a 6-piece band and trying to coordinate and harangue and harass people into doing what they said they would do. I was also finding myself in friendship dynamics where I was hearing things back to me like, well, maybe what you're looking for in terms of friendship and support just doesn't exist. And it's like, but what I'm looking for is what I give, and realizing, okay, there's a lot of work that I need to do to work out who I am, because some of these themes are consistent, the disrespect, the depletion, the loneliness I felt, even when I was surrounded by people, this persistent sense of loneliness. And that came from a space where I wasn't able to recognize and honor and represent myself fully, because I didn't really know who I was. And I didn't really know who I was because I was never comfortable in spending that quality time with myself, nourishing myself, believing that I'm worth that, and believing I'm worth it because I'm able to give it to myself, rather than looking externally always for validation. So that's the journey that I've been on. I'm also a creative empowerment coach, and I love supporting and helping people out there just like you connect with their creative passions, because for me, that was the vehicle where I really got to catalyze some of these changes and start to unpack and unlearn a lot of unuseful ways of thinking that were just second nature to me, but that was keeping me locked out of being the person that I knew I deserved to be, someone who felt confident in the world, someone who felt confident in their body, someone who felt they're deserving of respect and love and compassion and support and acknowledgement. And I had to be the person to give those things to myself first and foremost, before it was even possible for me to begin to experience any of that in the world outside of myself. And like I say, a huge part of beginning to do that work was embracing solitude. And I say solitude as opposed to loneliness because there are two different things. And for me, how I would describe it is that the loneliness is being alone and longing to not be so, to be alone and to feel a weight of self-criticism, to feel a weight of shame around it, to feel a weight of rejection. And for a long time, like I said, I felt really lonely. Like, why can't I make this work? Why can't I find the right people to be around? Why can't I feel connected to the space and the environments that I'm in? It's because I wasn't me. I was a version of me. I was full of people-pleasing tendencies. I was trying to look for that external validation. And as soon as I started to embrace my solitude, understanding that within me, I create a sanctuary. Within me, I create all that I need. Within me, I'm capable of manifesting all that I desire. That's when things started to change. And key to being able to embrace that solitude was starting to turn up the passion for spending time alone, to not consider it as a problem or a curse or a personal failing, but to embrace it and say, I get to fully immerse myself in the experience that I choose to have, like whether it's going to a concert or going to the cinema or traveling. I get to fully experience it, no compromise. It's just me with me living out my intention. And through that, through being really intentional about this time, this space, I've been able to confront these things that have been holding me back. I've been able to separate, okay, what is my own motivations? What are my own interests? What is my own sense of growth and achievement versus what is it that I'm being told I should be, or told I should achieve, or told what it should look like. And being able to step away from that has given me so much more freedom in my creative work, where now I can say, okay, rather than this need and desire to operate as a band, as a unit, which has always been the drive and the vision, I get to embrace, what does it look like when I deliver this completely alone? Like I write and produce the music, but seeing it to fruition, what does that look like? Does it look like a different way of collaborating with different musicians? Does it look like a way of exploring working more with electronics, which has always been on my to-do list? You know, when it came to work, what did that look like? Okay, it looked like being able to say, I'm going to walk away from this toxic situation. I'm going to go it alone. I'm going to refuse to believe the words of my former employer when they said, it's not going to be better anywhere else. Like, I can now look back and compare empirically. It is infinitely better than what I was dealing with before in terms of opportunity, respect, remuneration, colleagues. It's night and day. And I had to walk a lonely path alone and get comfortable with that, get comfortable with leaving things behind that didn't serve me in order to make it into a new space and place and experience. And that's why, particularly as women, it's so foundational to be able to embrace the solitude, because we're living in an age now where it is actually possible as a woman to live alone, travel alone, own your own home, have a career, you know, like whether or not you want to have a partner or not. Like, these are now all choices we get to have. It was only up until, like, I think it was the late 70s, you weren't allowed to have a credit card as a woman, for example, or a bank account, you know. So if there's anyone out there who is postponing a dream because they're waiting for that person to come with them, I'll do it when, I'll book that trip when, I'll, you know, when I'm not alone, when I have a partner, when I have, like, quit that. If there's something that you want to do, lace up your boots and walk the path, and be so grateful and so thankful that you can do it alone. I totally believe in you. You've got this. And if this helps, let me know, because I am so passionate about making sure the lessons I've learned the hard way, you don't have to. And if there's anything to think about today, it's where in your life are you holding out or holding on to things that don't serve you because you don't want to take that leap and go it alone. Have a look and just see where you can start to introduce a little bit of freedom, a little bit of self-confidence, and a little bit of courage. Make it happen. You got this. And I will see you next week. Bye.